Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We thank you for joining us. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. We begin with the presidency. The ministry, President Muhammadu Buhari has assured Republic of Chad that Nigeria will always be there for them, as Nigeria and Chad are not only neighbors but brothers. A statement by the special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, stated that the President made this assurance while receiving a special envoy from His Excellency President Idris Deby of Chad, adding that Nigeria appreciates the support she was getting in tackling insecurity from the neighboring country. The President said Nigeria is grateful to Chad for the diverse kinds of support given to combat the Boko Haram insurgency, and assures that Nigeria would always back up Chad in its local and international aspirations. The special envoy, Mr. Amine Abba Siddiq, Minister of Foreign Affairs, African Integration and Chadians Abroad, conveyed a message from his president, whom he said sent fraternal greetings to President Buhari and Nigerians in general. The Ministry of Petroleum Resources, DPR, and the NNPC have been directed to give the necessary support to Walter Smith Refining and Petrochemical Company, including access to crude oil and condensate feedstock, towards expanding the capacity of its modular refinery to 50,000 barrels per day. President Muhammadu Buhari gave the directive at a virtual inauguration of the company's 5,000 barrels per day modular refinery in Imo State. Details will come in our subsequent bulletin. The federal government, the Senate has received executive communication requesting the confirmation of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu as INEC chairman for a second term. The request, in line with Section 154, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, seeks Senate's approval for the appointment of Professor Mahmoud appointments for a final term. The President also requested the confirmation of the appointment of 7 nominees as chairman and members of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, with Hussaini Kangiwa as chairman. Names of 8 nominees were also presented for confirmation as Governing Council of the Hydropower Producing Areas, with Joseph Tofa as chairman and Umaru Aminu as full-time commissioners representing the Northwest in Pension Commission. Senate has called on the federal government to set up a panel to visit structures destroyed in all states during the EndSARS protests and gave the states 1% VAT to assist them rebuild these structures. The House of Representatives has passed for second reading the Petroleum Industry Bill, PIB. The bill, whose journey began in the Fifth Assembly, seeks a wholesale development of the oil and gas subsector through improved regulation, revenue generation, investment, and development of host communities. Debate on the general principles of the bill witnessed bipartisan support in the Green Chamber, as lawmakers stress that the PIB is the vehicle that will drive unprecedented reforms in the petroleum industry. Tuesday's plenary also featured the adoption of a matter of urgent public importance on the need to reinforce security in Chibok and Damboa local government areas of Borno State to curb incessant insurgency attacks. House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila, while welcoming members back to plenary, noted key legislations before the House, such as the 2021 budget, the PIB, the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, and Police Service Commission repeal and reenactment bill, all of which require speedy passage. He also acknowledged the presence of the colleagues of the late Ifeanyi Okereke, who came to participate as the House honors the deceased. Members of the Inspector General of Police Committee on the Assessment of Losses Suffered by the Nigeria Police Force during the NSAS crisis have assured the Anambra State Police Command and those affected by the protest of the IGP's commitment towards compensation for their loss. Udo Okoronkwo Chukwu reports that the members of the committee visited police formations in Anambra State with a message of restoration and patriotism.
The committee, in order to achieve their objective, visited affected stations where they had one-on-one interactions with officers who came directly under the attack of the hoodlums. They were provided with forms where they are expected to fill in their losses. The team that visited affected formations in the state was led by the vice chairman of the committee, Atayero Patrick, a deputy commissioner of police. The formations visited include former Neni Stars office, Nobi police station, Otolonewi, Opo, divisional police headquarters, Ezinifite, Osumenyi, and Amici. All the stations have one thing in common, and that is destruction of buildings, vehicles, and properties. In some cases, loss of lives. The team also made a stop at the Osumenyi mortuary, where the corpses of 2 officers who died at the Osumenyi divisional headquarters were kept. The police public relations officer, Anambra State Police Command, says the visit is timely.
They also met with the families of the police officers who died, as well as the injured policemen. They commiserated with them on behalf of the Inspector General of Police. They have compiled all the damages done, both to individual police officers as well as the facilities, for onward transmission to the Inspector General of Police for further action.
The command has the assurance of the IGP's commitment towards getting value for their losses. In Oka, Udo Okoronkwo Chukwu, NTA News.
Still on security, the Directorate of Defense Media Operations, DMO, says the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole has knocked out an Islamic State of West Africa province, ISWAP, logistics base and neutralized several of their fighters in airstrikes conducted at Tumbinrego on the fringes of Lake Chad in Borno State. DMO Coordinator Major General John Enenche says the mission was executed on the 22nd of November 2020 following credible intelligence reports indicating that the location, with structures camouflaged under dense vegetation, was being used by the terrorists as a hub for logistics items conveyed via the lake and its tributaries for onward transportation using trucks and motorcycles. The Air Task Force dispatched Nigerian Air Force fighter jets and helicopter gunships to attack the location, resulting in the destruction of the terrorist structures as well as the neutralization of several of their fighters. The Military High Command commends the Air Task Force for their professionalism and urges them to remain resolute in the conduct of operations in order to rid the country of all terrorist elements. Lagos is our first port of call, and Dotun will be our guide. Dotun?
Lydia. Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi says the massive investment in railway is to achieve greater economic development and easier movement of cargo and passengers. The minister, during his monthly inspection of the Lagos-Ibadan railway project, also apologized to Nigerians for service interruptions on the Abuja-Kaduna route as a result of faulty locomotives, promising that more locomotives and wagons will soon be delivered to boost capacity. Gradually, the Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge rail line is taking shape, and The Abuja train station leaves little to the imagination of what to expect when completed, even at its present stage. Workers are busy with one job or the other, installing, fixing and grading, all in a bid to achieve deadline and the much anticipated resumption of passenger service. While it has become a routine inspection for the minister, this is the 28th since the project commenced, and the essence is to again put the contractors on their toes for timely delivery.
They've worked for over 3-4 months and they've not lost anybody. The implication that COVID is no longer an excuse. So we insist, and we've told the Permanent Secretary and I and the Chairman of NRC with the Managing Director and the Director of NRC, we've agreed that the Technical Committee should meet with them tomorrow to ensure that they put not policies, measures that will ensure that the pace of work is increased.
Issues around unresolved signaling system and other matters such as reduction of the workforce employed on the project and relocation of pipelines to link the rails with the Lagos port are set to be resolved.
We have come across such pipelines at Ijora. We are trying to see that we relocate them before we can move. But beyond that, works have continued to progress into the port.
A well-functioning rail system is an absolute imperative to unlock the potential of this economy.
And as the train runs faster, with every inspection, the Nigerian Railway Corporation is more confident that lives and businesses would benefit immensely when the rail begins commercial operations. Away from the rails, private security firms are evolving strategies capable of involving service delivery in line with prevailing new normal that protects individuals from coronavirus. Stakeholders at the 13th Annual Conference of the Nigerian Institute for Industrial Security, NIIS, Lagos, exchange ideas on how to improve on the existing protocols. Lynn Leneke reports.
The more than 2.5 million personnel in the private security sector have contributed immensely to public safety by complementing the efforts of the police in particular. This gathering had experts revealing more strategies the Institute can adopt in order to fulfill their mandate in an environment that is adjusting to the safety attitude required to combat COVID-19.
COVID-19 has posed a serious threat to the security of our country because economic downturn, loss of jobs, this creates a heightened rate of crime and criminality, and which requires a repositioning of, the security system.
These scenarios, which almost crumbles the activities of all sectors owing to COVID-19, necessitated the choice of the theme of the 13th Annual Conference.
We can no longer ignore the essence of COVID-19, and that is why the security sector must be up and doing, because they must make sure that we minimize the adverse effects on the people.
The Nigerian Institute for Industrial Security is the nation's first indigenous security certificate body with over 1,700 members in the West African sub-region. In Lagos, Lynn Leneke, NTA News.
Let's now take our very first break on Nationwide. More reports when we return.
Thanks for staying with the NTA. The news continues in Abuja. President Muhammadu Buhari rejoices with Prince Arthur Eze on the occasion of his 72nd birthday, November 25th, 2020. The president joins family, friends, and well-wishers in celebrating a man who has devoted his resources to help those in need, reaching out generously to underprivileged people and families, communities, academic, religious, and health institutions. As an accomplished businessman, President Buhari is delighted that Prince Eze has used his massive investments in oil and gas sector across Africa to contribute to the development of the nation's economy, provide gainful employment to many Nigerians, and extend similar opportunities and goodwill to other nationals as well as the Ozo Egbondu recounts his numerous blessings. The president prays God Almighty to grant him good health, happiness and peace, with more fruitful years to continue the good works for the country and humanity. Governor Babagana Umara Zulum says government of the United Kingdom has pledged to support Borno in some aspects of implementation stages. In a statement by a special envoy from the UK's Foreign Affairs Minister, Mr. Nicholas Dyer, the United Kingdom is particularly pleased to see that the governor has launched his 25-year development plan for the state, because having this type of vision in terms of how to move from the situation of where the state is now, with deep humanitarian challenge and insurgency, to a situation where they can support people's livelihoods and long-term development, is what they want to see happen. Governor Babagana Umara Zulum expressed appreciation to the government of the UK for their continuous humanitarian and technical support to the northeast. The governor cited lack of job opportunities, hunger and illiteracy as the root causes of the insurgency, requiring long and sustainable solution to address the situation. The governor said with the increased agitation by the IDPs to return home, there is need for stabilization as well as the recovery efforts carried out simultaneously. The Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, says the best way to play politics in Nigeria is to deliver good governance. The minister, while interacting with journalists in Abuja on the activities of the ministry under the Buhari administration, also believes that the All Progressives Congress will retain power in 2023 if the party keeps to its promises to the people. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
Globally, both the developed and developing countries are currently faced with economic challenges due to the coronavirus pandemic. As a fast developing economy, Nigeria is not an exception in the current global realities. One of the country's area of attention is the provision of critical infrastructure like roads and housing to serve as a bedrock to strengthen the social contract between the government and the citizens. In view of this, the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, says 711 road contracts covering 13,000 kilometers and the positive transformation in the housing sector across the country are the priority of the Buhari administration.
So you are driving through progress. How you will know is that if you are using the road, like Enugu to Port Harcourt, you will know that your travel time has reduced. Journeys that needed you to go for 2 days to return, you can go same day and come back, even though we haven't finished. And the question, the way to get the best out of those roads is first to use them properly.
Reacting to some political developments affecting the APC, the minister urged party faithful to respect and support the party's caretaker committee to enable them achieve their mandate.
If there is a crisis that has now led us to have a caretaker committee, we must also respect the caretaker committee. Let it do its job. Those of us who didn't contest to hold party offices, who now found ourselves here, let's focus on our job too.
The Buhari administration, he added, is mindful of providing equal development across the country. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party has formally inaugurated the party's caretaker committee for Ebonyi State. Timothy Yusuf reports that the committee is to run the affairs of the party in the state, pending a state congress within the next 90 days.
Congratulations. Inauguration of caretaker committee to run the affairs of the People's Democratic Party in Ebonyi State. The state chapter of the executive committee of the party was dissolved following the recent defection of the state governor and leader of the party, David Umahi, to governing All Progressives Congress. NWC enjoins members and supporters not to despair but remain committed to the ideals of the party.
Be rest assured that the NWC will continue to support you, will continue to be with you, and will continue to interact and guide you so that you can take PDP to greater heights.
On behalf of
by members, in particular, and the state PDP. We assure you that we do our best.
Speakers, including former President of the Senate and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Ayim Pius Ayim, restated loyalty to the PDP, promising that the party will be repositioned for better performance in future. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
More on politics, political analysts are urging the National Assembly to ensure that fundamental electoral reform is undertaken before the next general election to deepen democracy in the country. Discussing electoral reforms on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria, they reiterated the need to amend sections of the 2010 Electoral Act to cure the ills that have plagued previous elections in Nigeria. Kemini Williams has that.
Reforms has been a recurring issue in the polity as Nigerians clamor for an electoral process that will allow for robust participation and produce credible results that will reflect the will of the people. Discussants on the program restated the recurring factors that continue to bedevil Nigeria's democracy.
Woman leader is no longer working for us. Youth leader only is no longer working for us. Because most times during elections, the woman leader is just supposed to go mobilize women to come out and vote. Youth leaders are supposed to mobilize youth to come out and vote. But that participation in decisions within the parties is not tangible. Nomination fees should not exceed 5 million, for instance. We are proposing 5 million. I know Senator Omar Agege is proposing 10 million. But also, once you start from president, you reduce that. That way, parties would no longer charge exorbitant fees to aspirants.
There are of the view that laws should be amended to incorporate contemporary realities such as technology, greater inclusion for women, youth, and the physically challenged, as well as ensuring true independence for INEC.
And we are proposing an amendment of Section 78 of the Electoral Act to make it possible for political parties to have a cut-off period within which a political association can apply for registration. And we are saying that a 12-month window is necessary.
Can we look at that section and also make it mandatory for parties in submitting your list? You need to ensure that there is a particular percentage of women in your candidate list submitted to the Electoral Commission, and representation of youth, and at least persons with disabilities should also be represented there.
They organize the election as an independent body. They supervise independently. They conduct independently. Why shouldn't they declare the result independently? Why should they share this power with the courts that were not anywhere close to where the elections were conducted? In my view, the power of the courts should end with nullifying the election if there had been non-compliance with the law, or where there were irregularities, or where the candidate was not qualified. They can annul the election.
Some, however, expressed concern over the vulnerability of electronic transmission of votes to cyber attacks, while other analysts suggested that the manual process should complement the deployment of technology. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, NTA News.
Next is Joss, and Frama is standing by with more reports on Nationwide. Hello.
Welcome to Joss. Free, fair and credible elections can only happen when every stakeholder in the electoral process is carried along. It is on this premise that the Resident Electoral Commissioner, Plateau State, Halilu Hussein Pai, called for a critical stakeholders forum for the Plateau South senatorial by-election fixed for 5th December 2020. Abdulwahab Abankanti reports.
This consultative engagement is to brief stakeholders on their level of preparedness and to roll out the line of activities guidelines, do's and don'ts, as well collect input from concerned stakeholders on how the rescheduled by-election will be a successful one.
I wish to employ concerned stakeholders, particularly political parties, to continue to cooperate with the Commission in its efforts to deliver credible elections under a safe environment.
The commission said the election will be conducted under strict observance of all COVID-19 protocols. HOD Legal Services of INEC, Plateau State, said all activities done prior to the earlier postponement of the by-election remain valid. The security agencies are short of providing adequate protection according to the rule of law.
We are proud of the policemen and all the security agencies. We have it in two parts. Those who will not be harmed and those who will be harmed.
Representatives of political parties, civil society organizations, religious bodies, traditional rulers, and persons living with disability contributed on how best the election should be conducted. In Jos, Abdul Babankansi, NTA News.
To foster relationship, boost capacity building and innovation, the French Embassy has donated a fabrication laboratory to University of Jos to encourage innovation-driven projects. Salou Abdurrahman Mohammed reports that the fabrication laboratory has been fitted with 128 components and has enlisted the participation of 3 external collaborators so far.
A fabrication laboratory is a digital and miniature laboratory where creative ideas are hatched, rapid prototyping is done, and mentorship, learning, and innovation take place. It is in this light that the French Embassy, through its ambassador, Jerome Pasquier, donated a fabricated laboratory to the University of Jos.
We hope that the UniJos Fab Lab will become the open, beating heart of innovation in Jos, providing both town and gown citizens, researchers, engineers, and students with the best environment.
Vice-Chancellor, University of Jos, Professor Sebastian Memako, assured the laboratory will be used effectively.
This is interdisciplinary. That is, other faculties can come here to conduct their research. This is one of those things that a university that is known for research will always be appreciative of.
The fabrication laboratory in University of Jos, which is called the French UniJos Fabrication Center, is an intervention by the French government to help in the development of human resources, capacity of students, staff of the University of Jos and their surrounding communities. In Jos, Salou Abdurrahman Mohammed, NTA News.
And that's all we have from Jos. It's back to Lydia in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Many thanks, Frama. An initiative that will enhance rescue operations during emergencies in the country has been initiated by the management of the University of Abuja as part of efforts to enable it compete favorably globally. This is as the Vice-Chancellor signed a memorandum of understanding with Center for Paramedics and Emergency Health Service. Abdullahi Musa Suleja reports.
Since the coming of the present management of the university over a year ago, initiatives have been introduced to uplift the institution with a view to meeting the aspiration of its founding fathers. So, the university finds it unacceptable to allow emergency situations in the country go unattended to. Hence, the swift action through this partnership to train personnel.
And what we have sought to do with our partners is to start through this center for paramedics and emergency medicine, to start a kind of first responder, a kind of tradition, that will focus on first-rate research, first-rate world-class services, training of individuals about how to do world-class, intervention in those kind of things. How do we establish information? Because if there's an accident, there has to be quick information to invite those who will rescue.
Very many of us have visited the other side of this country, and we saw the responses when it comes to accident victims. In such that 1 minute, 2 minutes is very important to save lives. But the key, point is, do we have first responders who are called paramedics? To the best of my knowledge, we don't have.
The institution is the only federal university that has representation of all the 774 local government areas of the country in its student intake. Abdullahi Musa Sleja, NTA News.
more than 10 out of the 75 billion naira survival fund has so far been disbursed to beneficiaries across the country, with plans to reopen the fund's registration portal to allow states to meet their targets. The federal government survival fund steering committee, led by Minister of State, Industry and Trade and Investment, Mariam Katagum, disclosed this in Abuja during a media parley. Benny Adams was there.
Yes, I don't get alerts. In confirming Hafiz's testimony, the committee members affirmed that all prospective beneficiaries' need is to get captured, verified and receive payment without knowing anyone or paying a dime. But once that, beneficiaries are selected on first-come, first-served basis.
However, due to the inability of some states to meet their targets, the portal is likely to be reopened to accommodate some specific states.
So far, 16,253 MSMEs, accounting for a total of 101,567 beneficiaries, have been captured. A further breakdown shows that 30,000 naira each was disbursed to 94,696 beneficiaries, while 50,000 naira was paid to 6,871 beneficiaries. The above numbers have 2.6% of beneficiaries with special needs, while 43% of the number belong to female-owned enterprises.
For the artisans, we have reached our percentages of getting the 45%. And I think in some states, the female artisans slightly outnumbered the male artisans.
Other components of the scheme are ongoing, with formalization support scheme being implemented by the Corporate Affairs Commission, having 250,000 new businesses to register, while the Transport and Guarantee of Takers scheme takes off in due time. Benny Adams, NTA News.
We now have the complete package of President Muhammadu Buhari's virtual inauguration of the Ibigwe Modular Refinery. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo will give us that.
The Walter Smith Modular Refinery, first and the largest so far in Nigeria, has a crude oil storage capacity of 60,000 barrels and is projected to deliver over 271 million litres per annum of refined petroleum products, including kerosene, diesel, and heavy fuel oils to the domestic market. Presently refining 5,000 barrels per day, the company is looking at 50,000 barrels per day refining capacity that will come with a planned additional 2 modules, which will then add PMS, aviation fuel, and LPG to the product slates. President Muhammadu Buhari is delighted that after many years of giving licenses for the establishment of modular refineries by successive governments without success, one has formally come on stream within 2 years of the commencement of his administration's refinery roadmap.
The development of modular refineries represents one of the 4 key elements of our refinery roadmap rolled out in 2018, aimed at addressing the challenges in the downstream sector to meet our local needs and eliminate importation of petroleum products. The realization of the refinery roadmap will ultimately lead us to becoming a net exporter of petroleum products, not only to our neighboring countries, but to worldwide market.
The president noted with satisfaction the increased momentum in the other 3 focus areas of the roadmap, covering the rehabilitation of existing refineries, collocation of new refineries, and construction of greenfield refineries.
In line with our agenda on job creation, I am pleased to note that hundreds of direct and indirect jobs were created during the construction of the first phase of the project, in addition to the various business opportunities. There is no doubt that the construction of the second phase of the project will create bigger additional employment opportunities. Let me use this opportunity to congratulate the local community and the people of Imo State for hosting this refinery, which I trust will bring prosperity and economic development.
Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State said Imolites cannot thank President Buhari enough for his deliberate efforts at encouraging a truly private sector-driven economy.
Imo State is today the first proud beneficiary of these visionary policies. President Buhari is the undisputed champion of walking the talk, of ensuring private sector participation in an economy that has always been public sector driven. This can only come from a visionary leadership that is focused and determined to make life for the citizens more meaningful.
This is only the beginning. After now, there are a lot of other refineries in line to be commissioned, and we are hoping that very soon the in-country capacity to refine will be up to as much as 250,000 barrels per day. Today marks an important occasion and indeed a milestone in our quest to ensure robust energy independence through gradual reduction in the importation of petroleum products into our country.
Walter Smith obtained license for the modular refinery in June 2015, got the authority to construct in March 2017, commenced construction in October 2018, and delivered in less than 24 hours ahead of schedule, thereby beginning to change the narrative in the nation's struggle towards securing petroleum products for domestic consumption. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
A summit to provide productivity, knowledge, and ideas that will guide top public servants through the complexities of COVID-19 is ongoing in Abuja. Participants, mostly top government functionaries across the states, are participating in this two-day leadership summit. Emmanuel Ayimiro reports.
The uncertainty of COVID-19 has left everyone in doubt of when the world will overcome the negative effects of the pandemic and its consequences over the economy, health, and livelihoods. Reawakening the consciousness of the general public on the application of productivity tools and techniques for higher performance, the National Productivity Center wants top officials of government to key into many social intervention programs of the federal government to leave the vulnerable out of the adverse effect of COVID-19.
There's also the 100 billion naira health sector intervention fund. We also have the 260 billion SME survival fund to sustain at least 500 jobs in 50,000 SMEs.
Great nations are built by the creativity, hard work, innovativeness, and pursuit of excellence by its citizenry, who must therefore resolve, both at the individual and organizational level, to develop the productivity mindset which will steer us to the nation of our dream.
Participants are expected to reach out to the grassroots on positive attitudinal changes expected to stimulate productivity improvement that can promote small and medium enterprises. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
Operations of NTA Abuja has again received a major boost with the donation of a new operational vehicle to the station. This fresh wind in the sail of the station is courtesy of former governor of Ogun State and the senator representing Ogun Central Senatorial District, Senator Ibikunle Amosun.
The tools that aids the quest of a media organization in the achievement of its core mandates of informing, entertaining, and educating the people is mobility. The atmosphere at the Ogbe Administrative Office of NTA Abuja was that of joy and a renewed sense of enthusiasm as the General Manager, Fumi Wakama, joined by other members of management and staff, took delivery of a new addition to the station's operational fleet. The gift, one Isuzu Hilux operational vehicle, is courtesy former Governor of Ogun State and the Senator representing Ogun Central, Ibikunle Amosun.
This is the team, and may he not be involved in any kind of accident.
Presenting the vehicle to the General Manager on behalf of Senator Amosun, His special advisor on media, Alhaji Bola Adeyemi, said the vision and modest achievements of the current leadership of the station towards returning NTA Abeokuta to its golden era was the reason behind the gesture.
Once it decides that this thing is in need, you need the thing, it gives to you, depending on what was available.
There was a day he came on a visit to NTA Abeokuta and said he was going to assist us. He's been very supportive. Yes, he has been very supportive. So, and we hope that many more people will take a cue from this and support NTA Abeokuta.
With the car gift, Senator Ibikunle Amosun has sustained his tradition of supporting the station, which is under his constitution.
You're still watching Nationwide on the NTA. Let's take you to Ibadan, where Adebola is standing by. Hello, Adebola.
Thank you, Lydia. Good afternoon and welcome to Ibadan. Osun State government is taking steps to avert the recurrence of what led to wanton destruction of property during the EndSARS protest in the state. The state organized the stakeholders' engagement on the aftermath of the protest. Femi Afariogun was there.
Osun State over the years has enjoyed relative peace. The unfortunate incident during the EndSARS protest that led to looting and arrest is the reason behind this engagement with stakeholders by the state government to prevent future reoccurrence.
We need regular youth engagement. There is need to stop the political patronage of criminal syndicates within the state.
Governor Yetola, who is also a victim of the hijacked protest, says now is the time to take advantage of the potentials in Nigerian youths for meaningful development. Aside appropriating 2% of the 2021 budget estimate for youth development, the state government has developed a youth policy that will be unveiled soon.
The people, including the youth, are the reason why we're in government. We have developed a youth policy christened the 4 E's: youth empowerment, youth engagement, youth entrepreneurship, and youth education.
The general concession is that dialogue remains the key to solving people's agitations and demands from government. In Osogbo, Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
And the need to be rightly informed about early signs of sexual and gender-based violence for relevant stakeholders has been identified as a panacea to curbing the menace in the society. This came to the fore at a sensitization workshop by the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. Omakende Igbari was there. Her report is here presented.
Denying the girl child access to basic needs of life, access to good health care, female genital mutilation are among ways of violating child's rights in the society.
People are free to explain or to come and lodge their complaint with us, and we do justice to it.
The rate at which the deferment cases of minor are reported in our office on daily basis was becoming too high.
Despite the declaration of the child rights by the United Nations, women and children are still experiencing one form of violence or the other. What then is the way forward?
A child that is doing anything wrong, the responsibility is from his or her parents.
We need you to discover your talents and start using it positively. We need you to believe in the Nigerian dream.
There is no case of child abuse that when you trace it back, you won't trace it back to neglect on the part of the parents. Speakers at the event were unanimous on the need to collaborate with law enforcement agencies to expose and punish offenders of gender-based violence to serve as deterrents.
That's it from Ibadan. Lydia, it's back to you in Abuja. Good to see you.
Thank you, Adebola. Let's take another break. Nationwide will continue. Welcome back. Sadia is standing by with more stories from that zone.
Lydia, thanks for joining us. The Memorandum of Understanding recently signed between Nigeria and Niger Republic to build rail line will provide huge trade to the volume of 30 million tons. Secretary General Nigeria-Niger Joint Commission for Cooperation, Ambassador Rabiu Akau, made this assertion at the preparatory meeting for the 40th session of the Council of Ministers held in Sokoto. Shehu Muhammad Dati reports that Director General Nigerian Television Authority, represented by the Zonal
General Director, NTA Sokoto Network Center, Saudat Suleiman.
The Nigeria-Niger Joint Commission for Cooperation was established in 1971 to boost cooperation and regional integration between the two countries. Over the years, the Joint Commission had witnessed and ensured progress in the areas of roads, cooperation in the field of agriculture, commerce and industry, transborder security, management of water resources and education. These experts from the two countries are meeting in Sokoto preparatory for the 40th session of the Council of Ministers. They are expected to extensively discuss and review achievements and challenges being faced by the Joint Commission. Secretary General, Nigeria-Niger Joint Commission for Cooperation, Ambassador Arabiu Akau, said agreement between the two countries to build rail line and construct hydrocarbons pipeline that will convey crude oil from Niger Republic to Nigeria is a great plus to the Commission.
Such a big project that is expected when they did the feasibility studies, that there will be trade volume of over 30 million tons between the two countries, which is huge by any standard.
I therefore enjoin participants from both sides to dedicate their efforts to the noble objective of strengthening the cooperation between the two friendly countries.
Director General Bilateral Relations Department, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Niger Republic, Hamidu Sabo, assured that his country will continue to work with Nigeria to fight insecurity, boost trade and transportation, as well as strengthen the existing ties of relationship between the two countries. In Sokoto, Show Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
Now, the use of solar energy technologies has been identified as a tool that will provide access to energy as well as guarantee sustainable development. This came to the fore at the opening of the 38th National Solar Energy Forum in Sokoto. Lata Abdullahi reports that the Minister of Science and Technology was represented by the Director General, Energy Commission of Nigeria.
The forum is an annual event that provides platform for stakeholders in renewable energy to meet and interact on the prospects of technology and development under the sector. Nigeria is among the countries blessed with abundant renewable energy resources, particularly from the sun energy, which also provide parameters that can easily mitigate coronavirus, leading to very low effect of the pandemic when compared to other nations of the world. The theme for this year's forum, solar energy in post-COVID-19 economy, is no doubt apt and timely as policymakers and the industrialists brainstorm on how best to explore, innovate, and deploy renewable energy resources to improve the well-being of the nation's population.
Development in energy, medicine, agriculture, transportation, and indeed all other infrastructure necessary for national growth are all science, technology, and innovation driven.
We are specifically directing more and more energy towards electric vehicles. The NADDC is seriously committed to supporting our automotive stakeholders who have demonstrated efforts towards the adoption and deployment of this technology.
The economic sustainability plan of the federal government under the solar energy sector is intended to support 250,000 jobs and impact 25 million beneficiaries through installation of 5 million solar home systems and mini-grids. In Sokoto, Dalat Abdullahi, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Lydia in Abuja.
Thank you, Sadia. We now bring you the detailed report on the special envoy from Chad.
President Muhammadu Buhari said Nigeria appreciates the support she is getting in tackling insecurity from the neighboring Chad Republic. He described as unfortunate the problem Chad is facing with Libya, which supports some rebels trying to destabilize the country. The president expressed worry that the instability in Libya after 42 years of Muammar Gaddafi affects all the countries in the Sahel region, from Mauritania to Central African Republic. Gaddafi, he said, recruited gunmen who learned to do nothing else than to kill. And when the former leader was killed, the gunmen escaped with their arms and are wreaking havoc all across the region. President Buhari expressed Nigeria's gratitude to Chad for the diverse kinds of support given to combat the Boko Haram insurgency, saying the federal government will always stand by the neighboring country in its local and international aspirations. The Special Envoy and Chadian Minister of Foreign Affairs, African Integration and Chadians Abroad, Amin Abbas Siddiq, conveyed a message from President Idris Deby, whom he said sent fraternal greetings to President Muhammadu Buhari and Nigerians in general. Details contained in the message were, however, not made public. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And that concludes Nationwide. Thank you for being a part of it. I am Lydia Ojijochi. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.